Hello everyone, I am Ahmed Zaki. Assalamu alaikum. Today we will continue with the general practicing nodes. We stopped after the Docker node if you run inside a Docker environment. The next one is not that important. It happened with me one time, I assume, and it may not happen to you. So we will skip this one. The next one. This one is important. When we work with our modules, okay, if you enable the authentication, then we need to have a user to authenticate with. So the script will create a user, and this user should have permissions to work with the modules. So we have a file called permissions to JSON. Or in this file you can put all permissions this user need to work with the modules you work with. If you have 13 modules, then you have more permissions needed. So you can change the permissions or add more permissions in this file and run the script, and the permissions will be granted to the user. Let's have a look on the file itself. It's in a directory called resources. Here we have our aliases. We saw this before in the documentation, and this one. Let us open it in a new directory and go back to the documentation. Here, for example, we have these sample permissions, which are along with the sample modules we have here in the repository, and you can simply update this file and add a lot of permissions, a lot more related to your new modules you want to work with. Okay, so feel free to update this array, these permissions, with your own needed permissions for the new modules you put in the modules to JSON file. Okay, we're back. The next one, let us see. This one may happen, may not happen, but in general, if something goes wrong, it's like the first step to do. It may help you to fix the problem. You can navigate to the module where the problem happens or where the script failed and rebuild the project, simply rebuild the project, yes. Or you can change in the modules to JSON. There is a key called rebuild. By default it's false. You can change it to false, and if it's missing in the module you can add this key and put the value to true. The rebuild will happen automatically. You don't need to manually cd to the module and rebuild the module yourself. Okay. Yes, this one is also very important. It's related to a configuration called enable free allocated ports for OKP modules. This is the action, free allocated ports. As we know, running OKP, there are some configurations added to the OKP process when you start. For example, we have a boundary for allocated ports for the OKP modules, starting with start port 9039 and import, and this one actually is 91, not 91, sorry. This is a problem. I will fix it very quickly. Okay, we can continue. Okay, here we have a boundary or a range of ports. The script can free or stop any process running on any port in this range. Configurable using this configuration. By default it's true, and you can change it to false. Why change it to false? Maybe you have another program which runs on a port in this range. Okay, so there is another way to do it. You can simply change in the configuration these two configurations. You can change them. You can put a number beneath the port you are using. For example, if it's 9160, you can change the import to 9159, for example. Okay, in the configuration, and we can see it. Can simply keep this one, go there to see these configurations where they exist. They simply are in the configuration. Okay, go up. Here in the configuration file, we have in OKP section, this one, we have import, okay, and the start port is simply, it's not stated here, but it's simply 1 plus the OKP port. OKP port is 9130, the start port will be 31, okay, and the import will be 91, 9090. You can change this if you have modules working in this range, before this range, okay, or you can simply stop the free allocation feature itself, which is where, yeah, this one. You can change this to false, and in this way you may encounter problems if there is a port before this, the import allocated to a process. The script will fail. So my suggestion, my recommendation, simply change this one, the import boundary range, and keep the default value to true. Okay, this is my recommendation. Okay, going to the next one. The database configuration could be changed for each module itself through the environment variables attached to that module. We saw this earlier in the module JSON sample object. So for some modules, you should not change the DB configurations between them. For example, mod users and mod auth token are related together, and also mod login. So these three modules should have the same DB configs. Should the same exist in one database. Okay, these three modules. That's one. Okay, we can stop here and continue in our next video. Thank you and see you next one.